What's up, guys? It's your boy Ruben, and new week, new video. Happy to bring it to y'all. Meant to do this video yesterday because I definitely wanted to cover what was probably one of the greatest games, if not the greatest game we've ever seen between the Chiefs and the Bills. But before we get to that, let's talk NFC, and because that wasn't it. This was one of the most entertaining divisional rounds I've ever witnessed. And let's start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the GOAT. And let's talk a little Aaron Rodgers. So this weekend, I think we witnessed what was the passing of the guard. So I've been a big Aaron Rodgers fan. Before that, you guys know I'm a Cowboy fan. I chose the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl against my better judgment. Unfortunately, I just knew Mike McCarthy would find some way to gaff it, and it was a total team loss. I already covered that in another video. I don't blame the refs at all. But after that, I had the Packers going, and I should have stuck to my guns. I originally had the Packers going just to see them get upset by the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers didn't score a single offensive touchdown and beat the Green Bay Packers. And why that's interesting is they went into Lambeau Field and took Aaron Rodgers down. I definitely didn't expect to see a Super Bowl from which Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers weren't going to be hosting it. Not hosting it, but, being there, of course. And this looks like it's going to signal the end for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I don't know what they're going to do. They don't necessarily have to let go of Aaron Rodgers, but they might just kind of be tired of the antics. And they did draft Jordan Love over a year ago now, and it might be time to kick the tires on him to see, what they have, because it's going to be year 3 for him, and decide if they're going to want to, turn the reins over to him or continue to look, or, this seems to be a season where the Green Bay Packers will be kind of turning things over. They got a lot of decisions between Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, quite a few guys' contract situations are up. So it'll be an interesting offseason. And I do say a passing of the guard because, like I said, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady were beat. Even if Tom Brady comes back, I don't foresee him. I don't foresee Tampa Bay being good enough to make the Super Bowl. Now, I got to really sit and think about that, to be honest with you, because I haven't given it too much thought on whether the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and them can be good enough to make the Super Bowl next year, because a lot of things can change. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the AFC, there's not too much in the way of Tampa Bay. You got, unfortunately, the Rams, which I'm still contending that they're going to implode at some point. That credit card that they have, that somehow they keep finessing the cap, is going to catch up to them. I don't know if it'll be next year, but they're definitely all in, and at some point it's going to catch up to them. But outside of that, there's no great quarterback left in the NFC. So outside of Aaron Rodgers, it's really Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, that kind of deal. So 49ers will probably be in flux because they'll probably be starting with Trey Lance next year. A lot of things are up in the air. Tom Brady could decide to come back and decide, you know what, there's nobody out there that can mess with me. Sean Payton just left, so there's that too. So division, I think, is definitely Tampa Bay's. A lot for him to consider. We'll see what he does. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of rumors on him going to Denver. Him even possibly going to the Steelers. There, anything can happen. I'll be intrigued, but I definitely think it's time for them to part ways. I'm really disappointed because I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. Really disappointed to watch him go out. The San Francisco 49ers held them to 10. Held them to 10. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, the Niners shouldn't have won the game, da-da-da-da-da. But hey, a football game is 3 phases, and special teams is one of them. Offense, defense, special teams. The special teams came through. Aaron Rodgers had a couple of opportunities to try to, get them back in the game. He has several opportunities to definitely push that lead. One more touchdown pretty much puts the game out of reach for him, and they were at home. This is the second year in a row that they are one and done at home, and I'm really disappointed. I think this was a really nasty stain for Aaron Rodgers, legacy-wise, and I'm not ready to completely rule him out. Denver's set up pretty nicely, but we don't know the head coaching situation. They do got receivers. They have a lot of young talent there that they could be just a quarterback away. So we'll see how that pans out. Uh, but that's enough of the Packers and really Tom Brady. I know I didn't touch on it as much other than they lost. You can't really expect Tampa Bay to win, but that was one. Excuse me, that was one of the worst uh, games I watched of the weekend. The Tampa Bay game wasn't an interesting game at all until the Rams completely tried to self implode mid game, allowed Tom Brady back in the game just to watch the defense and that secondary allow a busted coverage for the second time. And really, those two busted coverages cost them the game. That was 14 points. They ended up winning, I believe, 34-27, and that's 14 points. One of them was to start the game, and the other was to close the game. You got one particular job, and it's to shut Cooper Kupp down. And they didn't cover much of anything. There were wide receivers running open all over the place. And as a Jags fan, it kind of bothered me because I was very high on Todd Bowles, but I don't think scheming was necessarily the issue. There was definitely a communication issue, people not knowing what they were supposed to be doing and not doing their job. So that's worrisome why that is, but we'll see. Jacksonville did bring in Byron Leftwich for a second interview, and you guys know that I've been of the mindset that I'm not too keen on first-time head coaches, particularly offensive coaches that are running systems that are just an extension of what the head coach is. For instance, I wasn't high on Eric Bieniemy, but I would probably call him before Byron Leftwich based on how long he's been doing it, because that's Andy Reid's offense. So that's something that's always bothered me. And Byron Leftwich is running Bruce Arians' offense. Not only is he running Bruce Arians' offense, he's doing it with Tom Brady. I don't know if I feel great about that, but I guess you do have the championship pedigree. They did win a Super Bowl. Bruce Arians has won, in various instances that he's been in his coaching career. And if nothing else, Byron Leftwich, I'd like to think, has learned a lot dealing with Tom Brady. I'm sure Tom Brady has been able to kind of, school him and vice versa. So not vice versa, because I'm sure there's nothing left which can teach Brady, but them working together, hopefully we can bring some of that magic to Jax. And then last but not least, I'm going to just say I called the Bengals to the AFC Championship game, and some people laughed at me, and they are there. Not only did I call them to the AFC Championship game, I called this specific matchup in the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. So I'm very proud of that, and I fully expect the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl. I think this is it for Joe Burrow. I've been telling people that Joe Burrow is special. People thought I was crazy when I said Joe Burrow was better than Trevor Lawrence. He has an it factor that Trevor Lawrence just doesn't have. And it's not to say that Trevor Lawrence is going to be bad, but as you see, Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times and was still able to pull it out. He has an intangible. It's just an it factor that Trevor Lawrence lacks. Trevor Lawrence can be good. He just requires more attention than Joe Burrow does. Hopefully he's learned a lot, and we'll see where we go from there. And then finally, last but not least, the Chiefs-Bills game, the instant classic. And Shane asked me, this is the best game that we've ever seen, right? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about it. And it's hard for me to just say, here's what I'll say, okay? Because I can't just say it's the greatest game I've ever seen. Well, what I will say is it's at least in the ballpark. I haven't made up my mind even. I can't, because one game that sticks out in my mind as far as the greatest game I've ever seen, and I hate this team, and I'm not a fan of this guy, but Tom Brady and the Patriots coming back from 25 down is one of the greatest feats that I don't think can even be replicated that I've ever seen. All right? You guys can say that Atlanta choked, but the fact that they came back from 25 down, I thought it was an insurmountable lead, and they pulled it out. And even on the final drive, Julian Edelman had that miracle catch where I don't know how he scooped it off the ground. It was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. This other game didn't have all the fireworks, but there is the Eli Manning beating the undefeated Patriots with the helmet catch and everything. I guess it depends on what your flavor is. I've never seen, this was definitely the greatest offensive display that I've ever seen in terms of, when you want to factor in the time, the drama, the dramatics. But that being 25 down was in the Super Bowl with legacy on the line. That shit was crazy. But this here was special. I think Josh Allen's turned the corner. Patrick Mahomes, I've been telling y'all he's the Steph Curry of the NFL for a couple years now. To watch him get in where he needed to get in 13 seconds. And I see a lot of the jokes that everybody's saying that the Cowboys couldn't even get a snap off in 14 seconds. Miss me with that. They had timeouts. Come on, y'all. But anyway, we're not even going to get into that. Let me just say again, 25 points in the last 2 minutes were scored. It's something unprecedented. I've never seen it before, and I hate to be that guy, but these defenses were also awful. Gabriel Davis was wide open like 3 straight touchdowns. Like it was, on one hand, it was spectacular to see the quarterbacks pull this off. But on the other hand, it's like the degree of difficulty, how hard was it really? Because the Bills didn't offer much resistance. And then the one touchdown that Tyreek Hill caught coming across the middle, only Tyreek Hill could have made that play. All right, there's no way that, did you see the angles that they were taking on Tyreek and they couldn't get to him? The kid's special. The only thing left for Pat Mahomes to me to prove, especially if he wins the Super Bowl now, is can he do it without these super freaks? And you got to imagine at some point Tyreek Hill is going to slow down, and they're going to have a changing of the guard. Quarterbacks usually last longer, so I'll be definitely interested to see the second half of Patrick Mahomes' career. But right now, I think we're living in the Pat Mahomes era. And we were worried about him early in the season, thought he was broken, but they seem to have found themselves. So should be an exciting weekend. I expect to see a high-scoring game, Cincinnati versus the Chiefs. But Joe Burrow, I think this is where your magic ends, because you're playing a guy that just has more magic than you. You're witnessing a potential GOAT right now. I know Tom Brady just beat him, and he's got a long way to go to match that. But what Pat Mahomes is doing these days is something to behold. So that's all I really got, guys. I got the Chiefs. The Rams 49ers game is a tough one to call because I don't trust. I've been saying I'm waiting for that game for Matt Stafford to implode. I think this is it. The Niners have won 6 in a row, I believe, against the Rams. They just seem to have their number. And the Rams' weakness is the run game. And the Niners, what they do best, run it down their throat. So I'm going with the Niners. My only concern is, to be honest with you, I'm hearing Trent Williams injured, might not go. Debo, I'm hearing was hurt. So, as long as they're healthy and able to do their thing, I think the Niners win in a close game. Matt Stafford throws a pick that costs the team, and you'll see a rematch of the Niners-Chiefs, except this time Chiefs are probably going to win again. I don't see this Niners team really good. I've always contended that I thought the Niners, when healthy, are the best team in that conference, in that division, But this Niners team is not as good as the one that previously went to the Super Bowl. So I can't see a situation where they're able to go ahead and beat the Chiefs the second time around. All right, that's my thoughts. Who you guys got? What you guys think? And definitely remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Peace. Talk to y'all after this weekend.